How do we as Jews calculate time? It is a new year. The new year is not based on a Jewish prophet. It's not based on a Jewish savior. It's not even based on a Jewish historical event like the Exodus from Egypt or receiving Torah on Mount Sinai. No, the Jewish year 5774 is the traditional counting from the creation of the universe and humanity. We are a small people with a large global vision. That's what makes me proud to be a Jew. 50 years ago, we celebrated we celebrated the March on Washington. In 1963, it was not quite known how it would turn out. But we at Temple Israel sent Max Ballack as a representative of this congregation and this Jewish community to the March on Washington so that there would be a Jewish representative from Minnesota, from Temple Israel there. 50 years later, we look at this incredible picture of Reverend Ralph Abernathy. He is holding a Torah and an American flag next to Martin Luther King and Abraham Joshua Heschel, a rabbi and two reverends. Abraham Joshua Heschel said that when he was walking, his feet were praying. He said, "There are a few who have done wrong, but we are all responsible. A few are at fault, but we are all responsible." History has proven to us that those rabbis and Jews who stood up for civil rights, they did not stand back. They were not bystanders. They stood strong, and history has proven them right. Joachim Prince, who spoke right before the famous "I Have a Dream" speech. He was a refugee from Germany, a rabbi in Germany brought to this country and saved a young girl as well who was a refugee. And the Hornstein family was very close to her. Joachim Prince said, "The most tragic response to discrimination is silence." We are a small people with a big vision. We are not bystanders. We are upstanders. That is who we are, and I believe that's who we should be. 50 years ago, we knew to stand up for civil rights. In Israel, we have a group, Nashot HaKotel, the Women at the Wall. This is Anat Hoffman. She is being taken away. She is being arrested for wearing a talit at the Kotel, at the wall. For 25 years, Women at the Wall have been fighting for women's rights to hear their own voices. They have not asked to be a part of the men's section of the Kotel. They have only asked for what is religiously part of our tradition, that at Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the month, women are invited not to work. Why? Because women didn't give their jewelry to the golden calf. Men did, but they didn't. And so we are told at Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of a month, we as women are not supposed to work. We are supposed to pray together. We are supposed to study Torah together. And these women have gone to the Kotel, to the Western Wall, for 25 years, since 1988. Every month at Rosh Chodesh to pray at the wall. And they have at it. They have been yelled at. They have been arrested for wanting to wear a talit at the Western Wall. What is amazing is after 25 years, things actually are changing. There have been 2 letters that have been sent to American rabbis in the last week to show that Prime Minister Netanyahu has asked Natan Sharansky to put together a group and to create a plan. Out of that plan has come 2 letters. One from Naftali Bennett, who is part of the Ministry of Jerusalem and the diaspora, a fairly large constituency, I would think. And what does he say in this letter? First of all, there are men and women praying together. It is not only the women who are having their voice, but there is going to be a part of the Kotel that is egalitarian. Men and women can pray together. That's unheard of. Bennett tells us in this letter that as of today, in preparation for Rosh Hashanah, he's building a platform where 450 men and women can gather for these holy days at the Kotel and pray together. It is short of the Sharansky plan that tells us that we should all enter the Kotel from the plaza to be able to choose, so that Orthodox, conservative, and Reform Jews can choose to pray the way that best meets their Jewish neshama, their Jewish soul. And so one day, you will be able to go into the old city, the plaza of the Western Wall, and you'll be able to choose which section you want to pray in. On top of this, Michael Oren, who is the U.S. ambassador to Israel, has spoken to high-level Israeli officials. And it is actually pushing even beyond the Western Wall, where Israel is willing to sit down with conservative and Reform rabbis to find out how not only this wall that was liberated in 1967 and is now, in their words, being liberated again for all Jews of all levels, of all different approaches to Judaism, but also in other places and aspects of Israeli life. These women stood up for what they believed was right, and now they have changed the world for the better. We are now facing an issue that we do not know the outcome of in Syria. I am far from one who promotes war or military action, and you all know that all too well. But I believe in this instance that we cannot be bystanders. That when an official uses chemical weapons against his own citizens in the middle of the night, when they are the most vulnerable, asleep, there is no defense, and there is no ability to be bystanders. It, in many ways, touches the very core of our Jewish narrative to use chemical weapons. And I acknowledge that I'm responding from that narrative. But in my very heart of hearts, I believe that if we don't take a stand, that this kind of warfare will be exported in so many horrific ways. So here we are as a people, And there are so many different opinions on the political front. And when we meet again in this sanctuary in 10 days for Yom Kippur, Congress will have voted and a decision will have been made. It is for me, this image of women lighting candles, asking the world not to forget them. It is the image of men, women, and children, of grandparents who never had a chance. These are the images where I feel we cannot be bystanders. We have to stand up. There's a Midrash for tomorrow's Torah reading. Tomorrow's Torah reading is a complicated one for us, and we hear it every year. It's the Akedah. It is the Torah reading where Abraham is told to sacrifice his son. And he goes to Mount Moriah, absolutely binds his son and begins to raise a knife in order to sacrifice his son. In the text, there is a yelling, Abraham, Abraham. The rabbis say, 2 Abrahams, what's the problem? He didn't hear the first. He wouldn't be stopped by just one Abraham, yelled out by an angel. So the rabbis begin to look, and they say, where's Sarah? Where's Isaac's mother? This Midrash says that she had climbed a tree, and she was looking over at Mount Moriah, and she saw Abraham raising the knife in disbelief. And she hears the angel calling out, Abraham, and he doesn't stop. And so she, in sheer panic and terror, yells out the second Abraham. It is Sarah's voice that finally Abraham hears, because she stands up. She is appalled, and she calls out his name. And only then does he stop the horrific act of sacrificing his son. We are a small people with a very large global vision. We have stood up many times. And this worldview is why I thank God every day that I was born a Jew. Shana Tova.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Tasi